My name is Bianca, and I am a recovering addict. I had my first sip of beer when I was about 7 years old. I was with my biological father and his girlfriend at the time. We were at a restaurant and I fell and my knee hit the ground and I started crying, and she was like, okay, here's a sip of beer, this will make you feel better. So from a young age, I thought that, alcohol or another substance was what was going to make me feel better. My dad takes me shopping every weekend and spends $2,000 just so I feel like, that was a lie, but it made me feel like I fit in, and it made me feel that people would accept me for what I had. I had this dream growing up that I would tell my mom all the time about a man. It was a dark shadow, and what ended up happening was that man, he would rape me, and throughout time I found out that that person was my biological father's brother. As soon as I found out about that, things kind of took a turn for the worst. Going through the pain of my dad not being there for me calling him, wondering where he was, what he was doing, him promising me he'll be there on Father's Day and him not showing up, gave me the wrong idea of how people should love and how people should act towards one another. When I was in 4th grade, let's say, I would start, I heard about cough syrup in a rap song. Went to the store, I stole some Robitussin and I put a straw in it and I just started drinking it. It didn't necessarily give me the effect I was looking for, but it took me out of my mind for that moment in time where I felt finally accepted, I felt loved. Regardless if someone was showing me that, I felt it inside, and that's what I was lacking my whole entire life. After that, I kind of got with the group of friends that knew about Xanax, that knew about Oxycontin, that knew about all of these. Hanging out with those people that I felt had the same issues as me, I found a place where I could finally fit in. At 11, I was messing around with Oxycontin and I started smoking them. By that time, my mom kind of knew that something was up with me. I was acting out, I was rude, I hated my life, I cried every night. I started buying Oxycontin and that got expensive. So that led to me trying heroin at just 12 years old. And I look at my little brother, and that's his age today, and imagining a 12-year-old doing something so destructive. Where I came from and where I am is just, it's crazy to me. When I tried heroin for the first time, I didn't know it was heroin. Someone actually told me that it was like weed resin. They said it was weed resin, and that was the best weed resin I have ever had in my whole entire life, and I had to get more of it. I loved it, and I still do to this day, or I wouldn't have gotten high. It gave me the feeling that I can do anything. I can conquer the world if I truly wanted to. I got a job at Tilted Kill, and that's where things really went downhill. My manager would have me on the clock go buy drugs for me and him to get loaded at work. And that's how, I was totally fine with it because, one, he got me high and I was making money for getting high. So what better job could I have? When I graduated, I went to move in with my boyfriend at the time. Things really took a turn for the worse when that happened. I started dancing. I started selling my body for drugs. I started lying, stealing. I stole from my parents. I stole from the people that have never done anything wrong to me, but I didn't care about you. I didn't care what good you have done for me. All I cared about was that next high. All I cared about was that needle in my arm. I was in Indio, California. I had no idea where I was. I was wearing short shorts and a tank top. I was 18. I had 3 suitcases, and I walked out and I said, fuck this. My life, my purpose in life is to get high and kill myself because that is all I'm worth. I was depressed. I was emotionally unstable. I texted my mom, and my family doesn't enable me. I'm not allowed to stay there when I'm getting high. I'm not, they'll talk to me. They're not gonna give me money. They're not going to support my habit. They're just gonna support me getting the help that I need. So I called my mom and I told her that my arm is swollen and there's something wrong with it. I shot up and I missed and I didn't hit the vein like I was supposed to. So what ended up happening, I got an intervention with my family. My mom found out I was dancing. My mom found out that I was doing things with my body for money for drugs, and I went to Detox and I went to an amazing recovery center in California. I lasted about 48 days. And, I moved to the phase 2 of the rehab, and I ended up relapsing with one of the girls there, and we were shooting up, and after I shot up, after her, she told me she had hepatitis C. With everything that happened in my childhood and everything that happened in my past, that was kind of like, okay, fuck it, what do I have to live for if I'm just gonna die anyway because I have this now? Getting, multiple surgeries on my arms due to drug use didn't stop me. That feeling that I was talking about earlier, that feeling of depression, that feeling of not being worth it, was still there. I believe that the pain that I caused my family, I just felt like they'd be better off without me. I was out in San Bernardino, California, and I was homeless. I was living behind a Walmart. I was robbing people. I was robbing houses. I was stealing cars. I would walk for hours upon end at nighttime wondering if I was gonna sleep that night, wondering if I was gonna eat, wondering if I was gonna live, because the area I was in, there was a possibility that my life would be taken from me at any minute for the drugs that I had, for the food that I had, for the shoes that I had. That's how it was where I was at. And this one time, this old man walked out of a restaurant with his wife, and I was in a stolen car sitting there wondering how I was gonna get high with 2 other people. And we saw him. We saw the gold chain that he had. It was a gold cross around his neck. One of the people I was with in the back seat were like, okay, let's just go, punch this old man in the face, steal his chain, and let's go get our necks fixed. Deep down inside, I imagined if someone did that to my grandparent, and it's still, I wish I knew who this old man was so I can give him back what we took from him. The cops roll up and they search the car, they find the drugs, everything, and I go to jail. I started crying in the back of the cop car, not because I was going to jail, but because I was gonna eat, because I didn't have to wonder if I was gonna wake up alive the next morning. That I got on my knees and I prayed. I didn't know what I was praying to necessarily, but I prayed that I can stop living this life because I don't want to be this person anymore. I want to be able to wake up and not have to chase the high. I want to be able to wake up and hug my mom and hug my little brother and hug the man who raised me, my dad, and be an aunt to my niece and a sister to my sister. I just wanted my family back. And if I couldn't do it for myself at that moment in time, I'd do it for my little brother. That kid means so much to me. His birthday is tattooed on my arm. Everyone in my family means so much to me, but the connection that my little brother and I have is stronger than any bond that I've ever seen. He is my best friend. He's like a son to me, and putting him what I went through and sitting in jail and being able to think about what I did made me want to do this, made me want to get sober that much more. So I go to the other county, I'm facing some time, and by the grace of God, they dropped my charges and I got released. I saw my mom's face and the tears just started streaming down both of our faces, and it felt that like at that moment in time that I was born again. I wish I could save everyone out there that is, going through what I went through so they can have the feeling that I do of just being able to not chase that next high, just walking around, trying to find money to get high, trying to trying to find money to eat, trying to live without a life, if that makes sense. You can do this if you put your mind to it. I believe in you.